So you've probably heard the terms cleansing and charging if you've spent any time in any of the crystal rooms or any of the crystal communities, or you've walked into a crystal store. Basically, what this is, and this is like a metaphysical practice, there are some scientific grounding, and especially to grounding yourself and to cleansing and charging your own energy. And this includes the crystals as well. So when you cleanse a crystal, you are removing any energies that are not naturally there. So you're taking away anything that's programmed, and you can do this to a small extent or a large extent. But there are a couple different methods, and the first method that people like to use is sage or any sacred tree smoke. So if you have cedar, or if you have there's Palo Santo that people burn. That is a great one. Palo Santo is great. Um, there are um, essential oils you can burn with the oregano. You can burn oregano, just any herb that is sacred to you. And so, but a lot of people like to use sage because sage actually has some cleansing properties and was used by ancients. So, if you want like a good, clear, um, smoke, I would use sage or Palo Santo. The only reason I say that you can use the other herbs too is because I don't want to have to feel like I have to try to sell something to you. You can use garden sage. You can grow garden sage on your own. You can grow white sage on your own depending on where you are, and you can harvest it yourself as well. And that's how I really recommend you doing it. But obviously, everybody doesn't have the time, the ability, or whatever else to grow their own sage. And so the white sage is specifically from California, and they say, that land is blessed. And so there are a couple problems with the white sage trade, and I'm pretty sure even the Palo Santo trade. So if you want to just do your research on it, you know what you're getting, basically. And so um, so there's that. You can use just water. Now you want to use like, the best case to use water would be living water, so like a spring or a river, or if you like a waterfall, but if you don't have access to those, obviously your tap water, or use pure water. So if your tap water is like city water, probably get some like spring water in a jug or something. And so, kind of use that, run it over the crystal, and you can place in the water Himalayan pink salt, other crystals, clear crystals. You don't want to use water with stones like selenite, or anything soft and that seems porous. There's a small list of crystals that don't do well. There's quite a few raw specimens that you don't want to get wet, because either they can crumble and break, or the water will react with a mineral and create a poisonous gas even. So sulfuric acid and all that is not something that you want to create when you're trying to cleanse yourself or cleanse your crystals. So just be mindful. Bumblebee jasper is one of those with that you, especially if you have it raw, that you don't want to get wet. Anything bright yellow like that, probably stay away from. But in that instance, you would probably use some smoke. Also, sound. If you have a singing bowl that resonates to any number of frequencies, 432, and there's a few others, 521, that these singing bowls will resonate to, and you can use those. You can, oh, you can send out positive vibrations through your voice. You can chant beautiful things, say the most beautiful things. I love you, I'm grateful for you, I'm grateful for life, I'm grateful for all of this, um, and so that those are ways that you can cleanse. And also charge, as you're doing these rituals, or as you're doing these little activities. it depends on where your head's at. If you're trying to cleanse these energies, use the smoke. Uh it's like, I'm cleansing this stone. These energies are being removed. The negative energies are being removed. And like, I want to make space for some new energy to be used with this spiritual tool, basically. Um, so we're going to, in this series, I'm going to be dropping videos on the full moon and the new moon. And so the new moon is a time for cleansing, having a strong cleansing energy, and the full moon is a time to have a strong charging and manifestation energy. And so, like, again, the new moon is when you plant seeds, and the full moon is when you harvest. And depending where in the year you are is how much emphasis you're going to put into each moon phase. So, for example, the springtime, you're going to be focusing more on the new moons, and in the fall and the harvest season, you're going to be focusing more on the full moons, which is why, there's all the full moon stuff that happens, in October and everything. They have the harvest moon and all that, and Samhain and everything and all. We're going to go over all that. And what's cool about this channel is every month, if there are any old pagan or Wiccan or different types of celebrations, we're going to recognize those. I don't. I celebrate sometimes, and I observe all different religious holidays, including Christmas, but in also, I love the family aspect of all of these things. And so, like, I just like the idea of the holidays and just celebrating, and how I celebrate might be different than how other people celebrate, just because of what my beliefs are. And we'll go over a lot of that stuff. So it's like all the history stuff, like, I want to share all that with you. It's probably stuff that you can find, but it's stuff that I will lead you to the resources that I've found too. So yeah, anyway, back on track with the charging and the cleansing. And so, once you've got your crystals charged or cleansed, what you do with them is, like, really, it's totally on you. There's a lot of different activities that we're going to be going over. This is just to cover the basics of what cleansing and charging is. And so we'll actually do videos where we interactively cleanse and charge. And then when you have the crystal down to a base, oh, and I also forgot that you can cleanse and charge the crystals by placing them in the moonlight, especially under the full moon, or even in the sun. If it's not a crystal, that its pigment will get reduced from the sun, such as rose quartz and amethyst. So I just didn't. I know it's been like 8 minutes, and some of you guys are probably like, he didn't say charging with the moon and the sun. And so that's, you can place them out, and you can do them in a grid. And I'm going to show you guys grids that you can use, some of the more effective ones for full moon and new moon manifestations, and then also personal grids that you can use for money manifestation. For, not that I have ever manifested a whole ton of money, but it's weird how these money manifestations work, even if you're not manifesting $1 million. And I'll explain why in those videos. And we're going to be talking about love, talking about groundedness, talking about self-healing, transformation, and just all of the good stuff. And so, if you're wanting to charge a crystal, you really just have to set intentions into it. And how you can do this depends on how far you want to go. You can just think and speak intentions into it, like, I am successful, I am successful. And these mala beads are great for that. If you get a mala, and you can just go over each bead, touch each bead, and you say your chant: I am successful, I am successful, I am successful, or I am loved. Or you can go through a few of them, and then that will charge that. So when you feel that crystal or that crystal object like this mala, you're reminded of these feelings that you had when you said it. And the more you say it, the more you can really feel it. When you say it, you want to make sure that you are actually like putting that energy into it, and you're actually feeling, you're not just saying words. You know, you have to conjure up that feeling and really put your spark into the words. And so the same goes with a crystal. So if I have a quartz crystal, it's a Lemurian seed crystal, and see, this one is programmed with some good energy already. But say I want to program it, I would just hold on to the crystal, you know, and the energy starts connecting with all of the energy in my electromagnetic field and everything. And you know, say, you know, like you can have a feeling, you can have a feeling of like um hope, you know, and you can just feel like I'm hopeful, I'm hopeful, I'm hopeful, you know. And this crystal, the quartz crystal, will get charged with the energy of I am hopeful, I am hopeful. So when I pick it up later, it will not only have that, but then you can also integrate the energy that you're feeling at that current time with it. So it's complex. It remembers things. It's just like water. If you ever seen the experiments that Misaru Emoto has done about the spirit, or the way that the water, the water responds to thoughts and responds to words. Crystals are the same way. They're very similar in structure. Water and quartz crystals. Quartz crystals are the most common crystal that there are. Those quartz crystals aren't the most common, but that'll be on the next video. So I'm gonna save the rest of the talk about quartz. But in general, cleansing a crystal and charging a crystal, you're gonna want to use any of the methods that I described, and basically when you cleanse your crystal with sage, you're going to want to light the sage, and you're going to want to go in a motion clockwise motion all around this the crystal. I probably should be doing this with a sage, but I don't have any in my immediate, so we'll do full videos. I just want to explain the concept for you guys on this video. And so you can use the sage in whatever cleansing, cedar or Palo Santo, in the same way with a room. You do a clockwise pattern to keep the energy moving in a forward moving way, and you can do it all around the whole house, especially into corners. And when you do, you say, I cleanse this space, I protect this home, I cleanse this space, I protect this space, I cleanse this crystal, I protect this crystal. Your environment needs to be clean too. You need to cleanse your environment just as much as you need to cleanse your crystals. It's the same thing. The crystals are just a little embodiment of the rest of your world. What we're going to learn in this course is that these little grids that we're going to make and all of this stuff that we do, it affects the rest of your life in little ways. And so if you can have your environment and your spirit and everything align with these practices that you're doing with the crystals, that's the best way. So if you're actually doing you know, when you make a grid and you move the crystals in the ways that I'm going to show you, and you're thinking these things, you go and act them out, and the rest of the magic will happen. It's the craziest thing in the world. Synchronicities, especially when you lock in those synchronicities. And so that's what we're kind of going to go over in the gridding and all that. So when you charge your crystals, set them with good, positive, powerful intentions. And when you cleanse with water, try to embody the water as a living, breathing force. The water is a living, breathing force that allows us to live. It allows the oxygenation process to happen, so it allows us to evolve and to eventually die as well. It allows us to be here. It's the whole reason for all of this. So, you know, if you're using water, water takes it back to the natural natural vibration. Also, Another way that you can cleanse your crystals and charge them with a natural vibration is by taking them out into the earth. So you can take them out into the earth and you can maybe make a little hole, or you could take some good soil, that even some fertile soil, or you could take some sand. You can put the crystals there, you can leave them there for a certain amount of time. You could just, if you want, as you're doing it, pat the ground, get the vibrations of the ground interacting with the vibrations of the crystals, and let the ground absorb the energy. The ground is good at that. Nature's supposed to take it away. That's right, with the living water. That's why the river is the most powerful, because the river, for the water element, will take away all of the negative, just like the ground will, just like the smoke will. So now we're speaking elemental. The on a windy day, the air will cleanse. So if you want to do an elemental cleanse, what you can do is you can start with the fire, sage, boom, move up to air, let the air do it with the sage. The wind, the fire and the wind are working together when you're saging. So it really takes care of two elements, but just let it breathe for a minute, right? And then you um then you can bury it in the sand, right? Bury it in the ground. Sorry, I had to figure out the elemental path for a second. Bury it with the ground and do your little ground rituals, and like say, okay, all that energy is soaking in. The this is a fun one, and we're going to go more into this when we go into our meditations, but you can imagine little tendrils coming off of the crystal and going into the earth, and just like spreading the information down into it and gaining back information, and then coming back up into the crystal when you take it up. So there's that. So you where was I going? Okay, so after the earth, then you can take it to living water, and this is a full elemental cleanse. If you're trying to do all of the elements at once, take it to the living water, or you can put it in your salt water. You take your Himalayan salt or your sea salt, you mix it with your water, preferably some spring water, but really preferably some natural water from your area. So if you have a well, that's probably like a real good thing, or if you've got a water source next to you, go get the water, and uh, you've got the water, and then when you're done with that, the last of the elements is spirit, and that is when you will put your intentions. This is the most important part. So that was all cleansing. And so when it's your turn, you're cleansing yourself as you're doing all this. So anything that you just did, you're also cleansing your own spirit, you're cleansing yourself. Because this isn't about the crystals like that. It's about the relationship with the earth. These are tools. They're very symbiotic. This is a metaphorical thing that's going on. I also believe that it's a physical, and I believe it's a very thing that will be proved by science. But right now, even just the metaphor is powerful enough to practice it, right? Cleansing your body by using an object that uh, is a example, right, of your energy. So as you're working with it, you're interacting with it, and it's becoming accustomed to your energy. You're becoming accustomed to it. You'll notice things. You'll see things that are uncanny. You'll have visions. Maybe you'll feel ways you've never felt before. Many crystals have had me feeling ways that I have never felt before, and that's how I know that it's real, because you know you can read a book and feel how you've never felt before, but to touch an object and always, like have a different emotion with it, and it really, each one tells a story, has a different place. So after you do your cleanse, you charge it with your intentions. Like, I would like you to be my companion as I start this new chapter in my life, or I would like you to help me see through spirit. Now, this is not asking a rock to help you see things. I feel like I want to make that very clear. We're speaking in very spiritual terms, and this is you're speaking through the ever loving spirit that loves you. Most people know it as God, but some people say this is the universe and the ever loving, or Gaia or whatever. But most people know this energy is God, and so Spirit is what I like to call it, and through my videos I will probably reference this energy as spirit, because this is how it's the spirit, the great spirit, not spirits. It's the spirit. It is a culmination of all of us. It is all of the spirits, and it is the all loving God. And we'll get into Christianity, we'll get into Buddhism, we'll get into all of the different religions, and we'll kind of bring them all together in a way. And So you charge these crystals with your intentions. So if, like, usually you pray, you bring them into your prayers. Bring them into your prayers and bless them. If you're somebody who prays, don't like feed into the whole, oh, like you're using an object so it's bad. It's like, no, we are here part of this. We're supposed to interact with our material surroundings. We don't have to rely on them. We're not worshiping rocks. Just like we don't worship, the Christian doesn't worship the Bible, or Christian doesn't worship the cross. Christian doesn't worship even the face of Jesus. They worship something different, the most spiritual, divine part. At least that is what is, supposed to be going down, in my opinion, is that we're worshiping the all powerful presence that cannot be faced, cannot be named. That is, well, we is loose, because I don't worship like that, but this is a completely another topic. But yeah, I rambled a little bit in this video, but I want you to kind of get to know who I am, and I want to get to know who you are in the community and in the comments. So if you're a part of this group, go into the discussion and leave some notes, and let everybody know what's your favorite crystal. How'd you get into crystals? Introduce yourself. We have one more video in the first 4 video drop, and that will be on quartz crystals, and I'm also going to get a little bit into the colors, but that'll be the video afterwards. These first 4 videos are going to be dropping as the initial package though, so after the quartz crystals video, then we will start to release the weekly tarot readings, the weekly crystal deep dive, the once a month live video call where I'm live with you guys and taking your questions and everything, and then the new and the full moon videos. So a lot of stuff is going to be coming out on this channel, because I want to keep it active and I want to get as many people in here. So there will be incentives to share this course, and there will be many opportunities to kind of like grow within the community. So even if you're not taking full advantage of these videos, there's other cool things that you can interact with in the community. So thank you guys very much. I do appreciate it, and we're going to end this video right now.